I couldn't be chairman, man. I couldn't speak for this committee. I couldn't do it. Take bullets over these rankings. Like it's nice to see all these little engines that could ranked among the top 6. Bama, blue blood. Clemson, new money, but outstanding new money. Ohio State, blue blood. Notre Dame, blue blood. A&M, been around for a while. Oklahoma, blue blood. Like, we're not going to have much fun with that, are we? Okay, cool. Now I'm interested to see what the Cotton Bowl looks like, right? Because is the Cotton Bowl going to be A&M versus Oklahoma? I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me see if I can't get to your questions right quick. Because as I said, it's going to be a shorter stream. It's going to be 30 minutes because I got to go to work after this. Make more videos. I'm writing a couple pieces for Fox Sports. Go check those out. When it's going to be a reaction to these rankings. Let me see. A&M got screwed. You lose a game, you don't get to be mad about it, right? Like, the one thing that's cool about being a Power 5 team is if you run the table undefeated, they're going to put you in. Think about Coastal Carolina. They got screwed. Think about Cincinnati. They got screwed. Think about San Jose State. They got screwed, right? Like, if we're just looking at those 3 teams, and those 3 teams don't finish out the top 10 rankings, and they won't, what do we tell those kids? And the reason that I want an expanded playoff has nothing to do with thinking that Coastal Carolina or Cincinnati or San Jose State can go win a national championship. It has more to do with growing the sport, making the sport into a nationally consumable product where everybody cares about everybody's conference and it's not just regional, and we don't just point to the SEC every year and point to Clemson every year, point to Ohio State every year, point to Oklahoma every year and say those are the teams. No, I want to see small schools be able to keep their programs with the television revenue that they would generate from just one playoff game. And I understand that there are people that make this stupid argument that you're going to devalue the regular season. Oh yeah, because that game that Alabama plays against Western Carolina really matters. Because that game that Iowa plays against Idaho State really matters. Because that game that Oklahoma played earlier this year against Missouri State really mattered. No, it's a bold-faced lie. Not every game does matter. And just south of where I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there's this state called Texas, where they play 6 and 8 weeks of playoffs in addition to the regular season. They'll play 15, 16 games. And y'all want to get mad about playing 16 games for these kids, where they're going to go into the NFL and play 16 regular season games a year, and then they added another playoff game to that in the NFL right now. They're going to play a bunch of games. That's the way that this is going. I'm not willing to listen to that argument anymore. Let me see. Dieters12 says, I've started watching you the past 2 months, and I love all your takes on pretty much everything. Go Bucks. Let's get this natty. Well, that's all you can ask for, man. I don't know that Ohio State has a good shot of winning the national championship, though I think they do have a good shot of beating Clemson. Like that part I'm into. I think that if they are able to get healthy, they might be able to go blow for Clemson, but they got to fix the secondary, and that secondary doesn't look like it's going to get fixed with Cornell Powell and Amari Rodgers and the like out there. E.J. Williams also showing up big time, and Trevor Lawrence might have won the Heisman because the vote will be split among Mac Jones, Najee Harris, and Devontae Smith after what they did collectively against Florida last night. It's a tough task, but it's one that I wanted to see. I want to know if they can get that done. Let me see if I can't get to any more of your questions in here. Do you believe Cincy would beat Ohio State? Doesn't matter if Cincy would beat Ohio State. It matters that the game would be played on television and there would be something on the line. Like, it's like asking, do I believe that Ohio State would have been beaten by Florida Atlantic last year? No, but they played the game anyway. Do I think that Miami of Ohio would have beaten Ohio State last year? No, but they played the game anyway. The way that y'all want to tell me that all of these games matter, and they don't. Ohio State lucked into an outstanding schedule last year where they played 4 opponents that played in conference championships. Right? That's luck. That you schedule these games so far in advance, you don't get to say whether or not that team's going to be any good. Promise nobody wants to play UGA right now. I mean, UGA has said that for the last 4 years. Georgia loses to Florida or loses to Alabama or loses to LSU, and then we got to deal with nobody wants to play them right now. They're peaking at the right time. They got a quarterback now. I don't want to hear it. Come out guns blazing like everybody else. If Notre Dame can run the table undefeated in the regular season, why can't Georgia? If Alabama can do it, why can't Georgia? Hell, if Cincy, Coastal Carolina can do it, why can't Georgia? I'm tired of people making excuses for that team. I want them to be good as much as you do. And every year we look at the recruiting class, and every year we look at the roster, and every year they get beat in the world's largest cocktail party. Outdoor cocktail party. Not related to football. Do you go to Transformation Church, RJ? No, I do not. Football is all about matchups. Florida was always a bad matchup for Bama. Urban has been saying that all year on Fox. Sure. Fine. Whatever. Did they lose? Who won that game? I thought it was Alabama. Every time they make the SEC championship game, what happens? They win. You know, it's like Miami back at the turn of the century when they were on a run of like 38-1 with Ken Dorsey at quarterback. You know, that's the other thing. We talk about this being cyclical. It wasn't that long ago that Florida State and Miami played 3 times in 10 months because they were that good. You know, it wasn't that long ago that we were talking about, man, is anybody else other than teams from the Big East or the ACC going to compete for championships? In comes Florida, right, with Urban. And then we get Saban. And then we get LSU. Like, it's all cyclical. Let me see. Shout out Doc Winston O'Boogie. Keeping it 100 in here. UGA is literally leading the cocktail party. Let me see. For a team like Cincinnati, just to make an appearance in the playoff would rocket them towards being their program to the next level. I would say that about Central Florida as well. Like, the reason that I think most athletic directors are scared of a Central Florida getting into the playoff is because it's got one of the largest undergraduate populations in the country, which means you'd be able to recruit from a larger group of kids at a public university and might be able to turn something like a Miami, right? Because Miami was a private university with no tradition. Lou Saban shows up, and then Howard Schnellenberger shows up, says, I'm going to win a national championship in the next 5 years, wins it in 4. You know? So I think that's why. It's a case of these athletic directors wanting to hold on to what they got as opposed to expanding and giving more opportunities to all of us because they don't believe that a rising tide raises all boats. They believe that their boat needs to be the one that's floating the highest, as if that's a thing that can happen. Let's see what we got in here. Did Oklahoma do that or do what? See, so we got Mac Jones versus Ian Book. We got Najee Harris versus Kyron Williams. We got Kyle Hamilton versus Patrick Surtain. And we got Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Fields. We got Trey Sermon coming off the best rushing game of any Buckeye ever, right? Versus Travis Etienne. I'm excited about this. This is going to be a lot of fun.